What you are about to hear was never supposed to leak, but it did. And once you know it, you cannot unknow it. Hello, friends. My name is James, and you are watching Royal Daily Report, your number one source for the most exclusive, most shocking, and most talked about royal stories on the internet. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now because you do not want to miss what we have coming. And if you have been here from the beginning, you already know. We never stop. We never hold back. And tonight is no different. Let us get into it. Pulled out from under their feet. At the 11th hour. Those are not our words. Those are the exact words, reported just hours ago by The Guardian, from a source close to Prince Harry. After 4 years. After everything Charles offered. After a royal residence. After the king reportedly offering to pay for it himself. After months of insiders calling it a formality. The reunion between King Charles and his 2 youngest grandchildren has collapsed in the space of one single weekend. Newsweek's chief royal correspondent, Jack Royston, published a piece this morning with a headline that says it all. Chaos over Prince Archie and Lilibet's UK visit shows a divided crown. Tonight we are telling you exactly what happened. Who said what King Charles is reportedly doing right now to try to save this, and why a 7-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl may, once again, not get to see the grandfather who has been waiting for years for this exact moment. This is Royal Daily Report, and this story is moving by the hour. Let us start with Friday. Because Friday, June 27th, was supposed to be the happy ending. Multiple outlets confirmed it simultaneously. Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet were coming to Britain in July. King Charles had offered them accommodation at a royal residence. The visit was tied to the 1-year-to-go celebrations for the 2027 Invictus Games in Birmingham. For the first time in 4 years, Archie and Lilibet were coming home. Royal author Robert Jobson described what was at stake with devastating simplicity. He told Newsweek, Harry's heart was in the right place. He wanted to bring his children to get to know their grandfather. Now they are old enough to remember it. Charles would have wanted that too. A hug from grandchildren he has not seen since June 2022. That was Friday. Hope. A plan. A date. A reunion that had been building, quietly, for months. If you want to know exactly what happened next, subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now. Because what comes next happened in less than 24 hours, and it changed everything. Saturday, June 28th. RAVEC, the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, the official UK body that decides who receives police protection, delivered its verdict on Harry's security request. 6 months it had been under review. 6 months of insiders calling it a formality. 6 months of sources telling reporters it was nailed on. The answer was no. Declined. And on Monday, June 29th, today, a spokesperson for the Sussexes issued a statement to Newsweek confirming the crisis directly. They said, and these are the exact words, the Duke continues to explore every available option to enable the visit to proceed safely and to give his children the opportunity to enjoy the UK. Marie Claire reported the same statement, with an additional and crucial detail. The Sussex spokesperson clarified something that cuts directly against what many assumed the problem was. They said, while accommodation at a royal residence has reportedly been offered to the Duke and Duchess, safe accommodation is only one element of an effective protective security plan because risk follows the person, not the place. And then the sentence that matters most. The issue has never been accommodation. Like this video right now if this story is hitting you as hard as it is hitting us. And subscribe to Royal Daily Report, because what comes next is about the man who is refusing to let this collapse without a fight. Now let us talk about King Charles. Because according to GOTV's reporting today, despite this entire crisis, despite what royal reporter Rebecca English called a PR disaster that Harry and Meghan created for themselves, the king has not changed his position. Rebecca English said Buckingham Palace's patience is being pushed to the limit by what she called the psychodrama surrounding the Sussexes. Strong words. From a journalist with deep palace sourcing. But in that same reporting, something else was confirmed. The king's stance on meeting his grandchildren has not been deterred. Not by the security failure. Not by the public chaos. Not by the headlines calling this a blunder. GOTV's headline captures it precisely. King Charles takes firm step for Archie, Lilibet after Harry, Meghan blunder. A firm step. While everything around this visit collapses into confusion and contradiction, Charles is reportedly taking action, on his own, to try to save the one part of this trip that matters most to him. Seeing 2 children he has not held since they were 3 and 1 years old. Do not go anywhere. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report and turn on those notifications. Because what comes next is about a comparison nobody saw coming. Robert Jobson, the royal author who has covered this family for decades, offered something today that deserves to be heard in full because it captures the brutal fairness of where this story actually stands. He told Newsweek that his sympathy for Harry is, in his words, limited. He explained why. He said Harry was warned. He said King Charles asked him, long before he left the royal family in 2020, whether he had thought it through, whether he understood what walking away from institutional protection would actually mean. And then Jobson said something that lands with real weight. He said, the grievance is real. Harry lost his court fight over protection in 2025. He asked for the risk to be reassessed. He learned days out that the answer was no. A father who then refuses to expose his children is doing what most fathers would do. Read that twice. Jobson is not condemning Harry. He is saying something more complicated and more honest. That Harry's anger is legitimate. That losing a court case and then being told days before a planned family trip that the answer is still no is genuinely painful. And that any father, in that exact position, would make the same choice Harry appears to be making. Protect the children first, even if it means missing the reunion everyone was hoping for. Now let us talk about what Jobson called the divided crown. Because this phrase, used by multiple outlets today, captures something that goes beyond Harry's security request. He told Newsweek, every time Harry comes to town the briefings contradict each other. One voice calls it a peace mission. Another calls it a trap. They cannot all be true. That noise is the sound of a divided crown. Newsweek confirmed something that adds real weight to that description. Sources told them there remains deep mistrust within the Sussex camp about the role of the king's senior aides in the process through which police security is decided. Translation: Harry's people do not fully trust that the people around Charles handled this fairly. That the Ravek decision, however official and bureaucratic it appears, may have been influenced by voices inside the palace who did not want this reunion to happen as smoothly as Charles himself reportedly wanted it to. Harry referenced this exact pattern of mistrust back in a January 2023 interview with 60 Minutes, when he said there had been briefing and leaking and planting of stories against him and his wife. 3.5 years later, according to Newsweek's reporting today, that same dynamic appears to be playing out again. Different crisis, same underlying suspicion. The same fear that somewhere inside the institution, someone is working against the very reconciliation the king himself is reportedly trying to build. Let us talk about what this actually means for two children who have no idea any of this is happening. Archie is 7 years old. Lilibet is 5. They were told, by parents who love them, that they were going somewhere special in July, that they would meet their grandfather, a man their father talks about with complicated love, a man who has been sending them birthday gifts every single year without fail, a man who, according to multiple reports, raised a toast to an absent 4-year-old grandson at his own coronation. And now, according to The Guardian's reporting today, that trip has been, in the exact words used by a source close to Harry, pulled out from under their feet at the 11th hour. 11th hour. Not weeks before. Not months before. At the very last possible moment, after everything was supposedly arranged, after the residence was offered, after the dates were set. Pulled away. For a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old who do not understand Ravek or security committees or institutional politics, who only understand that something they were promised may not happen. Here is where things stand right now, as of this recording. The Sussex spokesperson confirmed today that Harry continues to explore every available option. That sentence leaves the door open. It is not a cancellation. It is a crisis still being fought, in real time, by a father who refuses to simply accept no as the final answer. King Charles, according to multiple sources, is taking his own firm steps to try to save this reunion. The accommodation offer reportedly still stands. The question is whether a security solution can be found in the narrow window between now and July that satisfies the very specific, very serious concerns that Harry's team has raised. The issue has never been accommodation, the spokesperson said. It is about whether two children can move safely through a country that, according to their own father's repeated public statements, still poses a genuine threat to their safety without proper protection. That is not drama. That is not a public relations strategy. That is, according to every credible source covering this story, a father's honest fear for his children's safety, colliding head-on with an institutional security process that, for reasons still not fully explained, said no at the worst possible moment. This is Royal Daily Report, and we will be following every single development of this story, hour by hour, until we know whether Archie and Lilibet finally get to meet their grandfather, or whether this becomes one more chapter in a story that keeps almost healing and keeps falling apart. That is all for tonight, friends. I am James, and this has been Royal Daily Report. If this story hit different for you, hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you have not already, and turn on those notifications because we drop new stories every single week. Share this video with one friend who loves royal news. I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay informed, stay curious, and stay royal. Goodbye, friends. Hello, friends. If you are not subscribed to Royal Daily Report yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button right now.